I didn't have an interaction with him per se, and I think that's where you're getting with. I didn't have interaction with him, but he was on the yard I was working on.
Okay.
A couple of occasions.
So you saw him then?
So I saw him there, right? And I saw, like, it wasn't the awe of the officers, the staff. It was more like they were aware of who he was. Like, you have to be. You have to know who your big names are.
Exactly.
Right? So, they knew who he was. So, like, maybe later towards my end of the career, Scott Peterson. A white guy who was known for killing his wife and unborn child. This name. Like,
Peterson.
If you're working, you got to know this name.
And
like,
he killed his.
He's convicted of murdering his wife and unborn child. He supposedly drowned her, and they found the remains down the road. So he's housed up north. If I'm not mistaken, he ended up at Pelican Bay for safety concerns.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with this guy.
No worries.
There was another person who did the same crime.
No, there's many inmates that did the same crime, for real.
And that was considered a strict, like, anti.
That's like, you're going against every code. Not only are you committing a crime against a woman, you're killing the woman.
Yeah.
You're committing a crime against a child.
Yeah, and you're killing the child.
You're killing an unborn
Have you
kid.
talked to any of these people?
Which ones?
The people who actually committed these types of murders and types of crimes?
I've had conversations with murderers, not necessarily like top name murderers and whatnot.
Well, not even top name murderers. People who have, like, possibly killed their kids and wives and stuff like that.
Well, there's I can go into my later career.
Okay.
Which I was at CIW, which stands for Central Institution for Women, California State Prison. Which is in Chino. I was there with the last two remaining females of the Manson tribe.
And their names were?
What was their names? Van something. I can't think of their names. Lindsay something. Fine. Well, anyway, these were the last two survivors of the Manson tribe, like their clan.
And you talked to them?
I've had many conversations with both of them. One was very, very angry at the world, still in her 80s. The other one had made peace. She knew she wasn't getting out of prison. She went up for parole a few times, was denied every time because it was heinous crimes. We're talking about, like,
murdered a slew of people.
They not only a slew of people, but they murdered famous people.
Yeah, exactly.
So that raised a lot of eyebrows. That was, like, very significant stuff.
And for those women, what was the exact reason of that? Oh, I saw it. I thought you were talking about something else.
No worries.
It makes sense.
Well, anyway, these women, that was the only famous ones that I had, like, actual interaction with. One was a heroin addict who had to go for. I'm trying to think of the name that we use when you're in prison. It's a substance of heroin. It's to help you cope.
Like a methadone or something like that?
There it is.
Methadone?
She was called a methadone patient.
Oh, okay.
So she was still given doses of heroin in the prison, state regulated,
forms,
but to help her cope because she was a heavy heroin addict.
And what was her, like, reasoning behind actually doing these murders?
She would never talk about it. Neither one of them would ever talk why they were there because that was their code. They did what they did, and it was just part of history.
Wow.
They weren't going to say why.
Have you talked to any inmates about why they actually did their crimes? Or
yeah, I've had conversations with women inmates when I was at CIW. I've had women inmates kill their husbands.
Mm-hmm. Cheating or
no. They were abused, beaten, like multiple times, like beaten within inches of their life.
Well,
because their husband didn't like what they did.
So, what was the craziest reason an inmate told you for doing a certain crime or murdering a certain person? What was, like, the most more like shock? Like,
okay,
wow,
my biggest shock was family crime.
Okay.
We housed on in one of the yards. We had two cousins that were housed together.
Okay.
Blood cousins, first cousins, as a matter of fact. They were housed together, and they got along very well. But the problem is one of the cousins. Honestly, there's no other way to put it. I just got to be blunt with it. His feet smelled.
Okay.
Like, so the one cousin, let's say Scott, tells his cousin Jeff, don't take your shoes off while you're in here. Mm-hmm. Like, your feet reek. I don't like it. And it's driving me crazy. Well, okay. Jeff doesn't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Jeff's like, I'm tired. I worked all day. I had a job, in prison. They get jobs to help burn off time and to keep them busy. So let's say Jeff just didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm tired. My feet hurt. I'm taking my shoes off. Well, this goes on for, maybe a few weeks. And Scott is just tired of the shit. Scott's like, your feet fucking smell. I can't stand it. You're driving me fucking crazy. Like, I can't sleep. It got to the point where this guy's like, you're fucking affecting my everyday life now. Exactly. Like, it reeks. Yeah. And I get it, right? I mean, but, so these guys are blood cousins. They got along until a certain point where Scott snaps. He's like, I can't fucking take this anymore. Remember, mind you, your door opens when it's opened. You don't have the opportunity to turn a doorknob and walk out of your house.
Yeah.
Which is your cell. That's what they call it, my house. You can't walk out of your house at will. If it's not your day room time, you're not coming out. If it's not your yard time, you're not coming out.
Exactly.
You're locked up. Well, he just couldn't take it anymore. So Scott kills his cousin Jeff over fucking the smell of his feet.
Oh my gosh.
That was his reasoning. I couldn't take it.
It's amazing.
He didn't listen to me, and I couldn't fucking take it.
And how did he kill him? He just straight stabbed him?
Strangled him. He fucking strangled him in his sleep.
Strangled him. Just towel over his neck. Choked him out. Sleeper hold.
Throw anything around his neck. He fucking killed him. He suffocated him to death.
Wow.
And had no fucking issues when we fucking found him.
Like, he was just still sleeping? Wow. Like,
no, he was laying there. He was laying there on his bunk.
Yeah, but he wasn't like he was at
peace.
Yeah, he's
like in his mind, like,
it was bothering him. It was bothering him.
It was bothering him that fucking much that he literally had to kill him.
Jesus Christ! Oh my gosh!
Blood cousins, like first cousins. Like, how do you? I can't see me doing that to my cousin. I love my family. I can't see me taking my cousin's life because
even if their feet smell that bad.
I wouldn't give. What if you're living? Wrap a blanket around him or something.
What if you were living in the same room?
Oh no! I mean, I've had Marines have fucking feet that smell like death.
So
I'm not trying to kill them.
Were these guys doing life, or were these guys just there?
They had terms. There was an end date. It's not like they were terminal inmates. They weren't sentenced to life.
So a screw was just loose then. There just had to be a screw loose.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I can't say. I wasn't my. I don't. I can't understand his mind.
And was there a build up to this situation? Was there fights, or was there? Hey,
there
we
was
should
arguments.
Probably.
Like, man, come
but
on,
no
fucker.
Fights. Like
stop.
no
like there was no real physical altercations. There was just a lot of strong talk, like arguments, yelling and screaming.
Exactly.
Like, we monitor that, but like it wasn't to the point where we felt like, fuck, this guy's life is in danger.
Do you think this guy possibly threatened him and he called him something like a bitch back? And at that point,
I don't think it was like that kind of a fucking argument. It was more like this guy just wanted his peace of mind.
Oh, okay.
Like he's serving a sentence.
There was no challenge.
It's like his cousin was adding to the sentence by making him smell this god awful smell, according to him.
And I'm assuming the prison system thought it was okay to put them in a cell with each other.
Yeah, of course, it's blood relatives. They're not natural enemies.
Yeah, exactly.
They try to accommodate. I mean, be honest. If there's no reason they shouldn't be housed together as family, they'll put them together, because in our eyes, it's like, okay, harmonious. Like, who's your better cellie than a relative? You shouldn't fight.
Exactly.
You shouldn't have to worry about like having to open a door because you're fucking killing each other. Mm-hmm. I think you tend to maybe love your family.
Yeah,
I'm sure he did. He just couldn't take it.
I don't think.
And that's what he said. At least I couldn't take it.
I don't think you put love in that.
Stand it anymore.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, wow.
That's just kind of tough to think about. Something like that to actually happen. And
to my knowledge, that was one of the most craziest murders I've
just like the wildest excuses.
For why you kill somebody.
And what actually happened to?
He picked up another 6 years.
That's it.
Maximum.
For murdering
I mean, honestly,
well, it's just for you murdered another human being again, right?
Let me put it this way. You get more time for attempted murder, 6 years, than murder, which is 3.
Why is that?
Can't tell you. That's the law.
That's amazing.
In California, you get more time for an attempted murder, I guess because now the victim is still alive and has to deal with the consequences of being attemptedly murdered.
not the actual gruesome murder they went through.
You're done. I mean, you think you get more time for ending a life.
I would think so, yeah.
But I guess because of the trauma that this person has to live, they're sentencing you to more time.
I guess that makes
what's crazy
kind
is
of
you
sense,
get more time for straight out killing a person than if you botch the murder and the guy lives.
I would think that they would at least be the same. You know
or the other way around.
Yeah, for sure the other way around.
It was attempted murder. The guy's still alive. We're going to give you 3 years. You killed the dude. Crazy. We're giving you 6.
Was there any similarities of being in the military and being actually in the jail system?
As an inmate, a lot of it is military minded.
Okay.
For sure. Like, I mean, you have somebody that you have to report to. Like, again, if you got a yard, a guy that has keys to the yard, that goes for any race. Mm-hmm. Again, your big 3, your blacks, whites, and Mexicans. You got keys to the yard, that guy tells you what to do. Like a general.
So everything
general.
In terms of everything is the structure.
There's structure.
Yeah.
You have to follow rules and regulations set by the key holder.
Okay, the key holder
has to, again, he's following orders from the shot call. Your big guy. You know.
And going back to your military career, the extent of like actually following through with orders that you didn't want to do, were there certain things that you possibly did that you just questionable
Well, yeah,
things.
I mean, you can question any order. If you think about it, today's military, they tell you, I need you to run up that hill.
I'm talking about your moral compass.
My moral compass specifically,
moral compass.
I mean, there's maybe a time or 3 where, like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the purpose?
Exactly.
But it's not my choice. Again, I got in 1986, joined the military. Mm-hmm. Back then, you really didn't have a voice. One mind, one unit.
Okay.
The Marine Corps basically breaks you down. They called it brainwashing, but we didn't see it that way. It was making a better machine to us.
Exactly.
It's like we're all broken down.
It's camaraderie. That's what you guys call it.
It goes farther than that. It's because, like, okay, I have a lot of friends that are Army. I've got a lot of guys that I spent time in the Air Force. I've got to know some of those guys. I've known people in the Navy. I got a nephew who's in the Navy right now. As a matter of fact, he's on a ship. He just probably docked recently back in San Diego. That's where he's based.
Well, awesome.
So I got people, in all branches. There's Coast Guard's a branch as well, but I don't know anybody or I've never been associated with anybody that served the Coast Guard. So I can't represent them or I can't give a take on them. With the Marine Corps, we were a different mind. We're a different breed. With the Army, it's kind of hard to say because my best friend was in the Army. He joined when he was older. He was 36 years old.
Wow.
35, I'm sorry. He joined at 35. At 36, you're too old. The day you turn 36, if you don't graduate, you're not in the military. Uh-huh. So you have to be in the military and graduate boot camp before you turn 36, back in 90-something. Okay? It may have changed recently. I don't know. I don't know the parameters anymore. I'm not associated with the military. I've retired back in 2016. But with the Army, there's a lot of, like, I've gotten a lot of feedback. Like, there's no after you're out, you can talk to a guy that was in the Army and it's like, oh yeah, I served. Okay, like, what did you do? Oh, well, I did this. Like, very curt, short answers.
Well, I mean, the Marines is definitely the branch that right, you sent him first, right? You guys are sent.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's stereotypes. Oh, Marines are first to fight, last to leave. But there's occasions where it wasn't the case. Yes, we're known for that, but it wasn't always the case. It wasn't 100% Marine Corps lands first.
So so this is information you gathered from people who said, "Oh, I just served."
Yeah.
Do you think that they really don't have pride in where they've?
Some don't, but like I said, I can speak 100% on 2 branches: the Marine Corps and the Air Force. Okay, I spent over 19 years in the Marine Corps, 19 years, 8 months to be exact, and I spent 7 years in the Air Force.
Wow.
Although most of it was reserve, but it was time spent. I have a great knowledge of both branches. I can honestly say.
And that's definitely the top and bottom of each of the branches in general.
It depends on your perspective. Like, the Air Force feels that they're the smartest branch.
Well, ASVAB wise, right?
Well, no, I know Marines that have scored 99% on their ASVAB. That's the highest score you can score.
But I know, but you have to score a certain amount to get into the Air Force, right?
Yeah, but you also have to score a certain amount to get in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, but it's
It just maybe the Marine
lower?
Corps bar isn't as high.
That's what I guess.
Nowadays,
I guess tangibles.
When I got in, yes, you had to be smarter to be in the Air Force. But right now,
Yeah.
the Marine Corps has a higher bar than any other branch.
Okay.
Higher than the Air Force. Like they're not taking just anybody. They want smart warriors,
Qualified people to actually
not just necessarily
holding their
qualified.
guns.
They want thinkers. Again, you can challenge now. Like if I told somebody to rush up a hill, I need you to get up there. There's a fire team on top of the hill. There's a machine gun nest I need you to take out on top of the hill. When I was a kid in the Marine Corps, and I call myself a kid, I was young.
Okay.
Okay, when I was a kid, you couldn't question that order. Like, fuck, you want me to take out that machine gun nest? All right, let's go. 20 of us go up, maybe one make it.
Okay.
But it wasn't for us to question. It was for us to do. We were given the task to take out a machine gun nest.
Well, it's kind of like
like
a prison
Right.
inmate though doing the same thing, right? I mean,
It can be.
within the guidelines of what's going on, you know.
But nowadays in the military, if I tell a young Marine, hey, I need you to storm that same nest up on top of the hill, it's okay for them to say, why?
Yeah.
Why me? Why am I going? What's the purpose of doing it?
Okay.
So now you have questioning of authority, but it's okay. They're implementing thought, which doesn't necessarily.
But thought is also thinking for yourself.
It is.
If you don't want to die,
say
right?
That one more time. Thinking of who?
Of yourself. It's
Right.
selfish.
Again, the military isn't a self branch.
Yeah, it's
It's the bigger picture.
Okay.
You're
fighting for something bigger than you.
You're fighting for somebody bigger than yourself. Yeah. And when you start questioning authority, some think that that's the greatest thing in the world. Like when you question management, I get it. But when you're questioning management, it's not life or death.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you're questioning management in the Marine Corps, your NCOs, your staff NCOs, your leadership, you're telling them with just the simple question of why they don't know what they're doing.
And can you compare that to actually being an inmate in the prison system? Because
Yeah.
when you're told to do something from a gang, right, which ran very militantly.
Yeah, very militantly.
If you decline or give a second thought, you're marked. You're marked, right?
You're marked.
Yeah.
And
isn't that what they do in the? Sorry, isn't that what they do as Marines too? Though?
Well, in the military, you're not marked per se, but you're administratively handled.
You have an asterisk by your name. This guy's not going to do this.
Not really an asterisk. It's like a covert situation where, like, if let's say I'm a staff NCO, staff non-commissioned officer, okay. I'm an E6 and above, okay, right? And I told my corporal, I need you to do something, right? I need you to storm that nest, okay, that machine gun nest on top of the hill. You don't do it, okay? Administratively, I can ruin your career. I can go to admin like, hey, this guy, he challenges orders. I needed this particular section to go up and do something. He refused. His proficiency in conduct marks, which is basically like your employee evaluation. Okay. His what we call P&Cs, like P and C's, proficiency and conduct marks. His P&Cs are going to be dropped. Okay. Which means now if you drop below a certain level, you can't get promoted, you can't advance. So I'm hurting your career.
It's more money at the end of the day, right?
Money. It's prestige. It's rank. Yeah. Rank is everything in the military. The higher rank you got, the more prestige you are. Okay. Right? You're looked at different. Like you're up there. Like you want to achieve that.
Job, right?
Right. Any job. Like your manager.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're working. You want to be the manager.
That's delegation.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Your hands aren't as dirty. Okay. But if you, let's say, Julio was tasked to make a hit on Joaquin, and they're buddies, right? They grew up together. Well, Joaquin may have done something that his side didn't like.
In terms of where are we talking about? Are we in the military?
No, we're talking about
anything
inside the walls. We're talking about prison.
Okay.
So Julio and Joaquin, they're best buddies. They grew up together. They've known each other since they were 5. Mm-hmm. Okay, now they're inmates, and they're running with the same group inside the prison, right? And, Joaquin was already tasked to do something. Like, Joaquin was asked to hit James,
Okay.
let's say, right? And Joaquin didn't see that as being ethical. Or let's say he just didn't have the balls.
Okay.
He didn't have the balls to take a life, right? You got X amount of time. Like, let's say, hey, you got 3 days to do this hit. And I expect it to be done. You're going to do the hit. You're going to report back to me saying that this guy is done.
Okay.
And that's a check mark on your box. Like, that's a notch for you to get higher, right? It's a challenge.
Putting in work.
Putting in work.
Okay.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Putting in work, right? But, Joaquin doesn't feel this. He's like, fuck, I can't do that. I can't take a life, that I'm only, ganged up for safety in the prison.
Exactly.
I didn't see murder as being part of what I had to do.
Which is foolish, right?
It is foolish. It's
Yeah.
fool's gold. It's fool's gold.
yeah.
You're chasing a hope and a prayer.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have to get your hands dirty. If you're ganging up, bro, there's no way around it. You're gonna have to put in work.
Okay.
So let's say Joaquin didn't want to do it. Like, he got close. Maybe he was shoulder to shoulder with this dude in the chow line, and he just fucking no other way of saying it. He pushed it out. Like, fuck, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And he didn't fulfill his hit.
Exactly.
Well, now Julio is jammed up. Hey, your fucking homie over here, Joaquin, we tasked him with fucking hitting Jaime,
yeah.
James. He didn't want to do it.
So now it's your.
He fucking reneged.
Yeah.
Like, he had 3 days. We watched him from afar. He had opportunity. He just didn't take it. He didn't want to. Like, it's your turn. You need to take this guy out because he didn't do what we asked him to do.
Okay.
So now you have the same parameters on you. That might be your best friend. That might be like, because that may be considered your brother. Like, you grew up with this kid. You do anything for him.
Uh-huh.
Now you're asked to kill him.
Which is,
So whose life are you going to value? Your best friend's or yours?
well, at that point though, you're gonna have to value yours, right?
You
because
have to. It's
Joaquin's
self-preservation.
and Joaquin's probably gonna die anyways.
Joaquin's gonna, if he's weaker and he can't make that decision,
Yeah.
something's going to happen to him.
Yeah, exactly.
An accident, and I'm winking. Accident on the yard may happen. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get him.
How often were people stabbed and you actually knew who did it?
It was kind of rare because, like, you either had to be right next to it or, somebody had to rat out a dude. And that rarely happens. You're not going to find a guy that's going to rat out another homie. And that
Even
that's anyways. That's
someone,
anyways.
even if the same person has stabbed him, right?
Right. It won't matter.
Because then that's like a death sentence, right?
Yeah, you're condemning yourself now.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
condemn yourself to now, possibly the same fate. Again, ethics. There's morals.
Yeah.
They
And
have this
and
lifestyle. It's the way you run your yard.
And snitching is like the highest form of condemning yourself, right?
Oh, for sure. You're expected to race up, do whatever they tell you to do, and shut your mouth when you know something. If you're getting jammed up by staff, and when I say staff, officers, when you're jammed up by officers, you're not allowed to talk. You basically either climb up or just, you talk about something that has nothing to do with what you're asked of. Like, if I'm asking you, hey, did you stab, Julio, did you stab Joaquin? Man, fucking Chow was short yesterday. It's irrelevant. But you're talking. Like, you're not saying anything. Or you can just sit there quietly. But it still comes down to, like, how far are you willing to
usually too is
bend
after
your morals.
Is after people got stabbed where was it usually a point to where they usually just let them alone after they got stabbed, or is it just like, hey, we need to finish the job, we need to kill this guy?
Well, you got to know. You got to know. You can stab him. That doesn't mean he's going to die.
So they if someone wants you, so there's a difference between someone getting roughed up and someone actually killing someone.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Because they can just be like,
they're
hey,
sending a message.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna fuck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. You're gonna get
follow
the fuck
orders
beat out of
next
you.
time. Yeah.
Same thing. You still got to go do it, because if you don't do it, you're gonna have 3 dudes at your door when you come out.
Exactly.
And
these guys obviously don't give a shit because they've done it before.
Because that's how they got to where they are.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
enforcers. That's their job. Their job is to enforce. If you didn't make that initial request, well, you got guys that are going to come after you.
Was there anyone on the yard you were kind of like a little intimidated by, or kind of like very aware of them being around? Other than celebrity status.
Oh my God.
Mainly like rap sheet status. Like
When I first got there, I will say this: it wasn't an intimidation; it was an awe factor.
Okay.
Okay, I was on a yard, and there was this Samoan guy, and okay, everybody knows Samoans are big fucking guys.
Yeah,
they're big.
massive.
They're just just in there. They're big boned.
It's in their
They're
genetics.
muscular.
Yeah.
They're just big guys in general, right?
Exactly.
So there was this one guy. He was a hitman for the Polynesian Mafia, right?
Wow. Okay.
He was up there.
Yeah.
Right. He was the hitman. This is the guy. You needed somebody offed. He got the call. You know, he was your fucking A1.
Exactly.
So when I got there, he had been in for a minute, and I got to meet this guy. Like I'm talking face to face, man on man. I'm again sub 5'5".
Yeah. Exactly.
This dude is 5'8", close to 250, 260.
Oh, he's fucking
He's
huge.
fucking huge.
He's huge.
Not
Muscular?
only is he bulky,
Yeah.
like as in like weight wise.
Yeah.
This dude's got no neck. He probably has 20-inch arms.
Oh, so he's muscular, big.
Muscular and big.
Yeah.
Like he's just a big
He's
a
yoked.
Samoan. He's
Yeah.
what people think of Samoan. Slightly muscular but really large guy.
A little short, but
Yeah, he's stocky. What we would call back in my day a stocky dude. You know, so when he walked around, you can just see him. Like he walked with a confidence. Like he feared no man. And prior to me getting there, I had heard from reputable sources that worked when incidents happened that had already been there before me, other officers, where he was attacked.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he didn't like his race, Samoans, interacting with blacks. Even though that they may have grown up with these guys, you know, they ran with blacks on the street, you know, the Samoans. You know, that was their choice of whoever they were. He was the kind of guy that was going to impose, you're Samoan, you fucking follow me.
Which is a little odd considering that they did, right? They kind of grew up together.
Yeah. But, I mean,
and was he like...
This was him personal.
Was he native or was he just not fucking with like anybody talking to his race?
No, he stood by himself most of the time. Only because he didn't trust nobody. It didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if you were his race. He didn't trust you.
Well, it's because he probably off so many people that he got to the point where like he's gonna have enemies.
You have no
right?
feelings though.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, I mean, if you're taking a life and that was your job, you don't have feelings. You know, you don't have like, fuck, I just killed a dude.
Because that's like the
fuck. What's next?
Yeah, that's the extent of
You don't have a conscience. You can't. You can't be in that business.
Exactly.
So anyway, this guy, he jammed up these Samoans like, hey, I don't want you selling drugs for these guys. I don't want you selling drugs and interacting with blacks that way. Well, that's who they ran with. They had an issue with him. He was eventually jammed up by the blacks. Blacks are like, okay, these guys run with us. Who the fuck are you to tell them they can't run with us?
Exactly.
This is their choice. But again, it would be like a black going to a white guy. Like, you're going to fucking do what I tell you because I want you to. Kind of that mentality. So this guy had issues with his race. And he got jammed up by the black race. Well, there was 5 guys that jumped him. Again, this is accounts from the guy that was there that day. An inmate or an officer that I trust who was there that time it happened. And it was a few years before I got there.
And he wasn't killed or anything,
no.
Was he?
Well, they were there to kill him.
Okay.
Oh, it was a hit.
Until
they were going to kill this guy. Well, this guy, he's fighting 5 guys at one time.
Yeah.
He's fucking up 2 of these guys. No big deal. You know, the other 3 jump in. Now he's in a battle with 5 guys, and he's still handling himself.
Exactly.
He's throwing haymakers. This guy's a big fucking kid.
Yeah, so if he's landing,
holding his own.
He's
like, if he's landing, you're going fucking down. Like, those kind of Mike Tyson shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, I mean, to put perspective, the yard goes down, right? Somebody hits their alarm. The yard goes down. Guns are drawn, right? You got your tower officers. Every housing unit has the control booth officer has weapons inside the control booth. And when a yard goes down, when you got to put the inmates down on the ground, your job as a control booth officer is to first make sure your building is controlled. Everybody's down. You go grab your rifle and you man the window that faces the yard.
Exactly.
And you have a yard gun who's centrally located on the yard, his whole job is he's got the rifle right in front of him. Anything goes sideways, that's his first go-to is the rifle. Right? So yard's down. They call yard down. Alarm's going off. Everybody goes down but these 6 individuals.
Okay.
Right? He's put 2 guys down already. And he's still slinging with 3 dudes. Big guys. They're not little guys.
No, I could imagine.
These are some country-fed black kids. They're big, blacks are relatively well in shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go with that.
Exactly.
Their physique is better than most folks. We'll call it that.
Yeah, okay.
But this Samoan, I'm sure this isn't his first rodeo with being in a situation with multiple guys.
Yeah, people jumped at him. Yeah.
So, and he's slinging with these guys. They're yelling yard down, yard down. He won't go down. He gets shot.
The Samoan. Wow.
He's the bigger threat. He's shot.
He's a bigger threat because he's handling 5 motherfuckers.
5 fucking big dudes.
Yeah.
He's laying it down. He's putting the law down, right?
Yeah.
This guy's fucking going to town.
Okay.
Yeah, and not to say, he's getting tagged. These guys are fucking hitting him with haymakers.
No, but he's
taking it.
Yeah.
He's taking their shots and he's giving them back. They're going. This is life or death to him. This isn't just a fight. He knows this is a hit.
I'm gonna die.
This is a fucking hit.
Yeah, exactly.
So he gets shot. The first shot, or one of a few times, he got shot twice. One of the shots goes through his thigh.
Probably doesn't feel it, right? Because he's
adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure he feels the sting.
It's like and then he keeps going. Right,
but you've got 3 guys still fucking tearing you up.
Exactly.
And he's getting tagged. Obviously, there's no way he's fighting 3 guys and not get hit. More or less 5. So he's taking punishment. This guy's getting fucking hit, but he's and the guy that took the shot is telling me this fucking guy didn't blink. Obviously, he's been shot before.
Samoan guy.
He's been shot before, right? He knows what it's like. He knows probably how much energy he's got left. He's bleeding.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you weak. He knows I've got X amount of minutes. I've got to fucking put it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Another shot goes off. An inmate's missed. One of the other 3 guys that are in combat with this guy. No other way I could put it. Another shot goes off. He gets shot again. If I'm not mistaken, it was like a torso shot. Maybe close to the shoulder. I can't recall. We're talking back in the 80s when this happened. Or maybe mid-90s when this happened. Maybe 96-ish. He's shot twice. And fucking, he's still not going down.
Fuck. This guy's an animal.
He's a beast.
This guy's a fucking animal.
And again, this is the count from the guy that's involved with this. This isn't like third-hand knowledge. This is the guy that saw it that day. Finally, these guys are like getting towards the end of their energy span, right? I mean, you can't fight forever.
Exactly.
Even UFC's got 5-minute rounds.
Exactly.
Boxing's got 2-minute rounds. You've got time spans where you're going to gas out. Right? These guys are kind of like, they're no more haymakers. They're just, guys are slinging now. Just trying to keep people off each other.
Exactly.
Now we have staff that's coming into the factor. Yard's already down. Everybody's down, laying on the ground, face down, hands spread out. Look like a gingerbread cookie, right? Hands out,
exactly.
legs spread. That's your standard SOP. The guy, they're going at it. Now staff is outnumbering these 3-4 guys left. Yard goes down, batons are swung. Inmates are now getting hit because they're not complying. That's what we're supposed to do. Our job is to stop any physical threat to your best ability.
And so are the guards are taking the guards are taking control, and they're fucking everyone up, right?
They get it done. They stop it. Nobody wants to get beat.
And what's going on with the Samoan guy? Is he just getting up like I just survived that?
No, he's got 2 guys having to put him to the ground. He's still fighting.
Oh,
he's like trying to fight against now
the
who he thinks is the officers that are trying to
because he's in a
stop
mode.
him.
He's in a
fucking survival mode.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
He has no other means but to just say he's got to start fighting. Like,
exactly.
He's not going to stop no matter what. Everybody gets put down to the ground. Finally, he's swung at maybe an officer or 2. He gets put down. Everybody's down, cuffed up, whatever. He survived 5 guys. He survived being shot twice.
What a fucking man, honestly.
What a fucking beast. This is a guy and when you talk to him, Like, I would come up to him, and honestly, when I got there, like, you know, I know who he is. I'd come and talk to him, like, you know, let's go with Tua. What's up, Tua? How you doing, sir?
That was it.
How you doing today? I'm okay. How about you? Mellow, bro. He's a fucking Islander, bro. No bad days. That's a moniker.
Just a monster.
No
though.
fucking bad days,
Yeah.
bro.
But
What's up with you today? I'm good. How about you, sir? Like,
Damn.
fuck this motherfucker.
He's just a killer.
Respectful,
Stone
bro.
killer. Yeah.
Stone cold.
You know, it's crazy though how like you can say that these guys don't have a conscience, but they're. I don't know if it's just a face they're putting on or something that
That's who. To me, that's who he was.
they're trying to show you.
If he wasn't on the job, he was the fucking coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, that's what.
You know, he was sitting on an honor yard. I didn't feed him yet. Sorry. This guy who's condemned for multiple murders is sitting on an honor yard. And what I mean by honor yard is your time in the facility, other than obviously he got in that situation.
Yeah.
Prior to that, the ideal inmate didn't start no trouble. Didn't fucking get into fights. He kept to himself. You know? He earned being on an honor yard.
Okay.
You know, he conformed because he was there to do his time. He had no enemies that he felt inside the system.
But
Unless you attacked him.
I thought he was doing like hits and stuff.
He did,
Simone
but there was nobody that was involved in the prison with him.
Oh, okay.
Like there was
I
no
see what you're
families
saying.
attached
Yeah.
to him there.
Oh, okay. I see
So
what
he
you're
was
saying.
just serving his time as far as anybody else was concerned.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, like, man,
He was just
to hear
fucking-
this
yeah.
story and then to meet the man, and like, you know, he would be out there exercising, bro. You know, in a what we call a wife beater, right?
Yeah.
You know, the old sleeveless,
top,
necklace, you know, undershirt, and a pair of shorts. You can see the fucking wounds,
Yeah.
the bullet shots. You can see him plain as day.
But
you
he was
know?
just in there, just
He was just in there doing his thing, bro.
back in, just doing
Just
it again.
what he had to do.
Damn, what a fucking.
But
what a
that
guy,
to me, that was
honestly.
the most like awe-inspiring situation I've came
in
across.
terms of just an inmate.
Just like, oh my
meeting
god,
an
this
inmate,
motherfucker!
yeah.
Like, wow,
He's a badass, like
Jesus.
certified, right?
You know,
Damn.
And like again, sub 5'5". I'm standing next to this guy, and it's like being
Yeah.
next to a mountain,
Yeah, exactly.
dude. He's like 3 foot wide.
he's just
Like he's just
I can
a
imagine
big
that.
freaking
Yeah.
Samoan.
And he's just roughing through people, huh?
And like when you speak to him, he's like the nicest guy in the world.
That's awesome.
It blew my mind. It literally blew my mind. Like, wow.
Well, it's great.
This
to
is crazy.
Yeah, it's really great to hear like something like that, though. Like some guy, like a model anime, actually,
Right.
going out and
But that to me, that goes to show that it doesn't matter what you've done.
yeah,
You could still be a respectful person.
yeah. Oh, exactly.
It doesn't
exactly.
matter.
I didn't even think about it like that.
Carry yourself.
Yeah.
It all comes down to how did you carry yourself when
So were most of like those big high end, not high end, but like big people, almost intimidating people? Were a lot of them very respectful, or were a lot of
not
them
necessarily.
No.
You know, there's guys that knew that they were the shot callers. You know, and they walked around with a couple of homies. You know, they had their little posse that was their protectors. You
Yeah.
know, your bodyguards, so to speak.
Okay.
You know, there wasn't always the conservative end. You know, these guys knew who they were, and you know they didn't mind that people knew.
Yeah.
But then you have the guy that, the one guy. One time I found out was a key holder to a yard. My first reaction was, that fucking guy?
Really?
Are you kidding me? This fucking kid's a key holder? Like, how?
Just describe him for me if you can.
Average?
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, not big, not muscular. But it was a kid that he wasn't afraid to put in work.
Oh, okay.
You know, this kid was like, I would go back to like the movie American Me. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've
some
seen
of the
it.
guys that are listening will like, oh
Yeah.
my favorite fucking movie, Big Puppet, Little Puppet. Fucking, that was the movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
think
seen
of
that.
Little Puppet, the skinny ass kid,
Yeah.
you know, who did dumb shit. But that guy would be the one that ended up being the key holder
Because he
to
was
the
just
yard because he
would-
put in the fucking work.
Yeah.
He was fearless. You give him a task, he handled it. Didn't ask questions. Didn't wait till the third day. He fucking got it done. He showed I earned these fucking keys. But when the one time I saw who it was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
It wasn't a certain person, right?
No,
like
it wasn't a
celebrity.
stereotype looking
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. It was just like some random.
He was average,
dude.
5'7", 5'8", 165, 70 pounds. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Probably very smart
Just
though,
like
right?
like you would look at your cousin.
Just smart though, right? Probably.
Very intelligent.
Probably.
You
Has
gotta
to be intelligent,
You gotta
right?
be intelligent.
Especially when
to
you
be
get
able
up to that level.
To be able to maneuver within that kind of a hierarchy.
Exactly.
You know, you've
especially with
gotta
some
just
stone cold people,
you
right?
gotta be, bro.
Who everyone's trying to chomp at, like getting to the top,
because everybody
right?
wants the same. Everybody wants the same goal. Everybody wants to be the shot caller.
Exactly.
If you don't want to be the shot caller, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, is that
Bottom
how?
line.
Is that how they?
Yeah.
Is that how the mentality should be?
It's feast or famine. Like, if you're in that hierarchy, your goal should be the shot caller because you're now not doing all the work. You're pointing fingers and other people are doing the work.
But looking back at being a shot caller, you also got a target on your back, right?
Oh, for sure, because everybody knows somebody wants to make a mark.
Yeah.
What's the best way to make a mark than take out shot caller?
And you just exactly. And then that position needs to get filled, right?
Right.
But I know like history has told us that like if like warlords or any type of tyrants are taken out, there's actually caused more chaos than anything because everyone wants to be a shot caller.
Yeah.
So has that happened at all? At, like the prisons you were at, has one significant guy been taken out?
Oh, for sure.
And just a variety, not like a variety
Hostile takeover.
Yeah, exactly.
Hostile takeover, bro. It happened all the time.
And everybody's trying to chomp, and everyone's trying to get to that place.
But look at it this way: if you don't succeed, what the fuck's gonna happen to you? You're done.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucking done.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a small cell of guys. Not like when I say cell, I don't mean like your prison cell. Like I say cell as in military wise. A cell, a handful of 6 to 12 people.
That's wild.
You know, a unit.
Yeah.
So to speak, like
it's
the
tiny.
Navy
It's
SEALs.
definitely tiny.
A small band of guys.
Yeah.
A cell that you're running with to do this coup.
Yeah.
You don't fucking accomplish it. You're all fucking marked.
Yeah,
You're dead.
exactly.
Your days are numbered. There's no way around it.
That's probably
And it's
scary.
fucking
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
Think about it. You don't succeed.
I can imagine.
You're done. You're not
Yeah.
gonna live. There's no. How do you undo that? Like how do you
can't-
talk your way out of that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you can't.
fuck,
I just trying to kill the shot
created a
caller.
coup,
Yeah.
and I didn't kill the fucking guy, or he didn't die. Man, how do you backpedal from that?
No,
you don't.
You don't. Yeah,
You
they will
fucking
kill you,
don't.
right? They're gonna kill you,
Oh,
right?
you're done. Yeah, you're next. You're on the hit list. I remember. I used to work in a situation, or not a situation. I used to work in a unit called ADSEG. We called it ADSEG. It stands for Administrative Segregation. Mm-hmm. Okay, for those that don't know, okay, imagine you just got sentenced to prison. You're in the prison system. Again, I told you got 4 yards, five housing units a yard. When you can't get along with the inmate population, which is already, let's say bad guys. Let's use, for lack of a better term, bad guys. You're bad guys in the prison. When you can't get along with the bad guys, you're all the same. But when you can't play with others, you go to ADSEG, which is called Administrative Segregation, which is a single housing unit. And you're going in this unit because you can't play well with others.
Okay.
So now you're segregated even further in a smaller capacity. Okay. So I love working there. To me, that was the best place to work.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Your day went by so quick because you do everything. It's not like in a regular housing unit. In the morning, let's start from the morning. Okay. You start at 6 a.m. You're at your job. You're at your post. By 6:15, 6:20, no later than 6:30, everybody's awake. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
All the inmates are fucking time to wake up, bro. You flip on the lights.
Everyone's hustling. Right?
You fucking let them know, hey, it's time to get up. They already know.
They're all
they have a mental clock.
Yeah,
they're ready to rock and roll. Oh. You're on the road to chow by 6:30.
Okay.
Right? Structured. Everything is structured. Okay, ADSEG is different, right? You don't have a mass body going to eat. Okay. You don't have a mass body going to exercise. You don't have a mass body going to church services or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're in a unit of maximum maybe 150 people, inmates. They're celled up, obviously. They don't have free reign. They don't come out in the day room, which is your open area in the building. Where you can watch a TV that's set up or hang out with your homies and have a conversation. You don't have access to a day room.
Okay.
You're in your cell. Okay. When you get fed, it's me and you bringing in a fucking hot tray or a hot cart that we get from the chow hall, culinary. Me and you, we're putting the trays in this hot cart that's already in another cart that was already cooked.
Okay.
Right? So now we're putting the trays in the hot cart. You have your main item, you have your side items, you have your breads, you have your whatever, right? Me and you, we're serving that food and putting it on a tray,
Okay.
right? We have a metal, like a cookie tray, let's say, that can hold 6 plates of food, right? We fill that tray up with 6 plates of food. I now take that tray and I go cell to cell and feed the inmates. There's 2 in a cell, I give you 2 trays. 1 in a cell, obviously, I give you 1 tray. You're not coming out. I'm feeding you. When you're done eating, I'm going back and I'm collecting your trash. When that's done, I'm going back and I'm mopping the day room. When that's done, I'm sitting down and I'm configuring the yard scale or the yard sheet. Who goes out, what time, when, who's compatible to go out with each other. Like
Right.
I gotta read your like as a.
And this is a regular guard, not AdSeg.
No, AdSeg guard, right?
Okay, it's
Only
AdSeg guard.
AdSeg guards work in AdSeg.
Okay,
We don't
okay.
want nobody coming else.
Okay.
We don't want no other regular officers coming into our building.
Okay.
There's 6 of us. Only 6 of us are working.
Okay.
Nobody else comes in. When you come in, like let's say an inmate got in a fight and you're bringing him into AdSeg. The furthest you're getting in, okay, there's a hallway. Okay, think of a building, right? A square building with a notch in the middle. Like it looks like an M,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
You come in, control booth officer opens the gate to the yard, right? It's a rotunda, it's a hallway, it's what we call a rotunda. You 2 officers are escorting 1 inmate. You bring him into the rotunda. There's another grill gate that opens up into our day room. When you bring an inmate, me and another officer are already in that rotunda. The grill gate behind us is closed. You can't get into my building.
Okay.
I'm letting you in my hallway. 2 officers walk in with an inmate. You take your cuffs off. We put our cuffs on. You walk out of my building. You're fucking done. You don't come in anymore. That's it. That's all the regular officer does. You drop them off in AdSeg. You get to the rotunda. We take control of that inmate, and you're fucking gone. You're not coming into my building because I don't want you in my building. My building is my sanctuary. I run that fucking building.
Okay.
You're not going to interact with us.
Exactly.
This is how we run. This is why we're so good. You know, it takes another mentality to work in that situation. So we now get the inmate. We read him the riot act. This is how you're going to act in my building. This is what's going to happen. You're going to get X, Y, and Z, and that's it. I'm walking into your house, which is your cell. I'm going to put you in there. You're going to back up to my grill gate. I'm going to take your cuffs off, and that's your new home.
Wow.
Okay? You can act froggy, and we'll tell you.
We're just gonna fuck you up, pretty much.
We'll tell you,
Yeah.
right? Okay, we're in the rotunda. You want to act squirrely?
Yeah.
Handle it. You feeling froggy? Jump. Let's go. We're not afraid. Like,
And that's what happens.
It's no big deal.
That happens with a lot of inmates. Is a lot of the pride's hurt because obviously.
not necessarily their pride's hurt, but they don't know what to like. They're if you haven't been to AdSeg, that shit's shocking. You've got a fucking officer like, let's go. If you feel like you want to fucking jump on me, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll give you that
Yeah.
opportunity.
And why do a lot of them take it? Have some
Some
of them
have.
take it?
Some
Have you
have.
been directly
I'm not gonna lie.
involved in?
I've
fight
had
with
an
an
occasion
inmate?
where an inmate has taken us up on our offer. It doesn't end well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean-
I'm sure it doesn't. Yeah.
But I will say this, and this is the God honest truth. I worked from 1999 to 2008.
AdSeg.
AdSeg, 8 years. 8 years. Off and on AdSeg. Most of it was a lot, over 50% was in AdSeg. Okay. My whole time working in the Department of Corrections, I did not hit an inmate one time with a baton.
Okay.
Not one time did I hit an inmate with my weapon.
Well, fists.
It was hands or nothing.
Okay.
And when you're in AdSeg, it's only hands.
I'm
Because
sure,
that's how
yeah.
we earn our respect.
with the inmates.
with the
I'm sure.
inmates.
Like
That's
this
the way
guard
it
threw.
goes.
Hey, this guard threw
It's
down
me
with
and
so
you.
and so.
We're gonna have a business.
You don't want to fuck. Yeah, you don't want to fuck with this guy.
No, I mean, it's not like it's all prestigious for real. It's not. I mean, we took pride in working in ad seg.
Well, I think a lot of that too is you have to take pride in that, though,
You do.
right? And because like if you don't believe in what you're doing, especially with someone like you're fighting hand to hand with a maybe convicted murderer or convicted someone, like it's really hard to take that lightly, though, right? So you kind of have to be all in or nothing.
It's like you don't know what I know, and I don't know what you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're gonna find out really fucking quick.
Exactly.
And the best crew I ever worked with, I work with a bunch of guys, right? Again, 6 dudes. I work with myself, obviously, former Marine. One of our other guys was a former Marine. One of the guys that was in charge was former Air Force. And I give him props. That motherfucker handled his business. I don't care what they say. I served 7 years in the Air Force. This fucker, he had something special about him. Mm-hmm. He could have been in any other branch. But he chose Air Force. But so, Marine, Air Force, Army, regular officer. We had one guy who wasn't military affiliated. But he had respect because he didn't hesitate. Like when shit went sideways, he did not blink. Yeah. He didn't hesitate. He got his nose dirty. So again, we made it prestigious, like all of us, because we took pride in our job. Like, you're not going to create havoc in my world. That's how we looked at it.
And that seems to happen with a lot of different. I think it's more of like a male aspect, right?
It kind of is. It's like I got bigger balls than you.
Exactly.
And it's really what it came down to.
Well, not only the bigger balls. It's more of like the. I'm the king of this mountain. It's a territorial thing, I guess.
You're coming into my kingdom.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna serve as I say. There's guys that didn't take to that well, and that's on them. No big deal. But this is just how we ran things. Like this,
and you're either gonna conform
this was the first thing that was confronting you when you walked into our building.
And would you say that has like I feel like because you are an older generation, like that male aspect of territorialism, kind of like it's kind of shifted, right?
Yeah. Because of laws and regulations.
Not only laws and regulations, but of people on the outside.
Oh yeah.
Like people on the outside are definitely
for sure
jaded in the fact that it's very comfortable out here. It's very nice. Yeah. You got your iPad. I got my iMacBook. We're recording right now. You can't do this.
Right.
You couldn't do this back when in Russia. Well, you couldn't do this. You couldn't do this in your generation though either. Right?
No. There wasn't.
This
the
is crazy, right?
Then.
And the amount of money it would have took for you to actually do it, but it's just crazy to see that like the comfortability that I have, like. To be honest with you, I've looked at those shows and seen those shows, and I don't know what I'm made of. To be honest with you,
you don't know your metal until you have to show it.
I think that's where I'm at in my life. Yeah,
like kind of piggybacking on what you're trying to say is, and to be honest, we weren't there to like show off.
No,
it was more like this is who we are. We're military people.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna run this like the military. And you're just going to conform.
And if you didn't run it like that, there would be people who would
be chaos. For real, it really would. Because then when the inmates knew there was somebody soft, and I don't mean like, soft as in like, LGBTQ or I don't know.
Well, that's beside.
I don't know the acronym, but like, and I don't mean like somebody that like can't handle themselves. But if you weren't assertive, you're going to get walked on.
Yeah, exactly.
You will get walked on because the inmates they'll tell you, go fuck yourself. Exactly. I need you to do something, now fuck you. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Let me show you.
It kind of reminds me of my grandpa talking to me like because he used to be a cop in Inglewood.
Right. We had this conversation. Yeah. I know a few guys from there that I worked with and I was associated with.
And they know the guy that you know.
Yeah, he was a great dude. Yeah. I really did. He was a great guy.
What was his name again?
Well,
let's not say his name.
No. Let me just put it this way. He was a narco unit in Inglewood who ended up owning a personal business
as was my grandpa.
Security.
As was my grandpa.
He was very prosperous. I worked for him. We didn't end on the best terms. I had personal problems, and he looked at it as I was disrespecting him, and it wasn't the case. When I left that employment, my mother-in-law was just diagnosed with her second cancer.
Okay.
I literally just lost my best friend in the Marine Corps. He passed away from cancer.
Okay.
So I'm dealing with 2 cancers. One of my children was dabbling in drugs, and it was just made known to me. Like, my world was crumbling.
Yeah,
know?
a lot of that stuff. Yeah, some people take it the wrong way, and that could have been saw as weakness too. Is
Right,
like the
exactly,
fact that,
exactly.
But going back to like what my grandpa said is like that weakness thing is like you couldn't show that in terms of like because he used to have to run prostitutes off the street.
Oh, for
and
sure.
tell them
For sure.
Hey, get out of here. Get out
there
of here.
are plenty in Inglewood.
And you couldn't you couldn't talk to him like, hey, he might get off like a lady,
Oh, hell.
You had to tell
Now
these
maybe you
women
have to.
because like they have a pimp or they have
yeah.
something else bigger than them that they're answering to.
They are answering to a bigger
purpose.
Which
seems to be the theme kind of going on here in this.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah. There's always a hierarchy.
Podcast.
No
Yeah,
matter where
there's
you're
something
at. No matter where you're
going
at. Like where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not going to, again, like you said, we're not going to say the name.
Well, it's
but
anywhere.
where we are,
Yeah,
there's a hierarchy there as well.
exactly.
It doesn't have to be the popular hierarchy, but a hierarchy nevertheless.
And sometimes if it's
you have
not
to conform.
and if it's not followed,
Right.
yeah, there's
There's
going to be
consequences.
obvious issues. Yeah,
You either conform or you kind of hide in the shadows and just get by, or you get sought after. Like, okay, well, you're not doing what I need you to do, so we're gonna let you go.
Okay,
We're gonna change where you're working.
Exactly. Change where you're working, or you're not working there no more. Right. So
And that's all well and good. I mean, that's everywhere you go.
it's everywhere, and I think
there's levels of authority.
Yeah, and I think the generation now is like they don't like the authority figure. I think that's definitely like something that. Well, I think that everyone struggles with when they grow up. Is like
if you didn't grow up in a structured house, you are going to struggle with authority.
Exactly.
Okay, if your feet weren't held to the fire, like when I was a kid, I had a conversation with my best friend on the way home. He was telling me a situation he had at home. He has a daughter who's probably 8 years younger than my oldest kid. So let's say she's in her mid-20s.
Okay.
He was doing yard work. This guy's got a 8-hour, 5-day-a-week job. Plus his ass, he works in a refinery. It's hard work. It's not easy work.
It's tough, yeah.
He's got to drive from in a neighborhood near us all the way to Chino. That's not a short drive.
No, not at all.
So he gets home. He's tired at times. He's doing yard work. He's working on the yard, and he needs help. He's by himself doing this yard work. He asks his daughter, "Hey, I need you to come out here and help me." His daughter's response wasn't, "Okay, Dad, let me come out there." His daughter's response was, "I have plans. You're gonna make me late. Why are you asking me to do this now when you know I was going to leave in a little while?"
Oh, shit.
And him and I, we have the same mentality. His dad was an Army veteran. My dad's an Army veteran. We grew up in a strict house.
How old is the daughter?
The daughter is, if I'm not mistaken, like 24.
Ooh.
Maybe a little younger.
So she was older, right? So, I mean...
This was like a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, but she's older, though.
She knows better.
She's 24 years old,
She's
though.
like 24, 23 years old.
But I couldn't imagine... Like, it's a grown-up, too, though, right?
Right.
It's a grown-ass
Right.
person, too, right?
But you're living in your dad's house for free. You don't have a
for
bill.
free is different. What if you're paying
You're
rent?
under dad's house.
What if
not paying rent?
What if you're paying rent, though?
If you're paying rent, I get it to a point. Like, let's say my daughter's paying rent. And I ask my daughter, "Hey, I need you to help me." Honestly, if my daughter really doesn't have anything to do, even if she does have something to do, she'll ask me first and foremost, "How long is this going to take?" Because I have expectations of doing something. And I'll explain to her what the task is. And she'll tell me, "You know what, I can help you up until a certain point, but then I do need to fulfill my commitment."
Exactly.
I respect that. First off, you acknowledge my question. Secondly, you conveyed the message of, "I have something to do, but I can help you until I have to leave."
So it's not the... it's the way she handled it compared to the
like
way...
she blew up at this man.
Exactly.
Like she told him, who the fuck do you think you are asking me to help you?"
Yeah, okay, that's totally different.
And my end of it was, I've
thinking.
known his mom. right? I know his mom. Both his parents have passed away.
Okay.
They passed away before he was 40. You know, we're the same age. We're both 53. Ironically, we're 8 days apart.
That's awesome.
His birthday is 8 days before mine, and we're the closest of friends. But I've known his mom as long as I've known him. I've known him since he was 14 years old. We met in high school, freshman year, best friends ever since.
Okay.
So I made the statement to him, if your mom was here today, your mom would have grabbed her by the fucking neck and drug her ass into the house and beat the shit out of her. For real. And because I've seen her in action. She would have pretty much told her, who the fuck do you think you are challenging your father like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Your father said, get your ass out here and help me. Who do you think you are challenging that?
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck what your plans are.
So it's a respect thing.
It's a big respect thing.
So it's so was it the action of her telling him, basically telling him who the fuck you are, or was it the action of not doing it?
Both. He said he was irate. Like, he had to really take himself and step back a second for fear of what he would have done. Because, again, he grew up in that environment.
Yeah, exactly.
His first instinct was to fucking grab her. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Like, do you know who you're talking to?
Well, I guess accountability, right? Setting
We're in
exactly.
We're in 2022.
And you don't want that.
Things don't work like that no more.
And you don't want that girl going out and treating people like that, right?
Well, it wouldn't be that. It was like, do you want your daughter to maybe call the cops and say you put hands on her?
Oh, yeah.
We're in that kind of a fucking world now.
For sure.
This isn't, I told you to do it, I'm going to smack you.
Yeah.
This is, I told you to do it. I thought about smacking you. My daughter went and called the cops, and she said you were thinking about it, and the cops arrested me. Because the threat was there. That's the difference. Back in the day, you didn't even bother.
I think at that point,
you couldn't even look at your parent cross-eyed growing up when I grew up.
I think that at that point, you get rid of the child then.
That was my statement. Because when he said, he told me, she says, I have plans.
Yeah.
My statement to her was like, well, then you need a plan to move the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a plan to be a fucking adult.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're still
and
here.
live on your own. Because obviously you are uncomprehensive of what you have here.
Exactly.
The luxuries I'm providing you.
Exactly.
So therefore, you don't
I totally
have an
agree.
opinion.
I totally agree. My grandpa was pretty straightforward about that kind of stuff too, and I kind of understood where he was coming from. So I tried to be like the best. I can't say I was perfect.
No, nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I try to be the best I could be.
I think Jesus was only the perfect son.
That's right.
Let's be real. And he created chaos in people's eyes.
I think it's just to show people.
Yeah, I mean, he had to get his point across.
He had to get his point across. Yeah. Well, on a lighter note, it's been like 2 hours.
I mean, if you want to keep going, dude,
I can give it like another 20 minutes.
Let's go. Whatever you got, I'm up for it, man.
Well,
you want to do a part 2?
Well, eventually, yeah. And I'd like to get your dad probably.
My dad's, man.
Get you guys on the same.
That is going to be.
Well, possibly on the same podcast.
Crazy.
You know, to see you guys bounce off each other, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's older than you, so it's going to be.
Yeah, he's 23 years my senior. If I'm not mistaken.
Big pops over there on the iPad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You never thought you'd see it, right?
No, I don't think he fathomed cell phones. I mean, go figure. I didn't grow up with a cell phone. Like, for me, cell phones is crazy. I can imagine for my dad. Who literally grew up in the 50s. 40s even, maybe. Late 40s, 50s. Like, nobody had the theory of cell phone.
It's just
laptop,
wild. It's wild.
iPad, tablet.
Yeah.
This
is a future thing. Yeah.
Shit. The only phone we knew was you had to drop a diamond and dial some digits. And it wasn't even dialed. It was a freaking, it was a round dial that you had to go one number at a time. And I'm sure some people remember that.
So me and John are both into sports, and honestly, on a lighter note, let's end with
that.
Yeah,
let's go in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Let's just get like a good 20 minutes of that.
Sure.
So NFL offseason this year. Because I'm thinking about actually starting a podcast called me and Gary were joking, Sports and Chuckles.
Okay.
I definitely enjoy his company.
Right. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I dig him.
So I was thinking of like starting something with him possibly. maybe not every week because he's got a family and all that stuff.
Yeah, for
but
sure. Collab with them.
Getting like a
regardless.
guest come over and like you or we have another homie named John here. Was a security guard.
Yeah. I heard about him.
Fucking coincidence, right?
Yeah, a lot of Johns in the world apparently.
Yeah, there's like 6 that are at work.
Yeah, right. And then there's like 2 or 3 John B's.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're John B too?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, like, go figure. I'm a junior John B. Like, it's not an uncommon name.
Just another one to add. So, any final thoughts? I'm sorry to cut you off, but
don't worry about it.
It's been about 2.5 hours.
I know. Time just disappeared.
Yeah.
For real. My final thoughts are, man, life's crazy.
Life's crazy.
Life is crazy, and you got to be ready for anything that's thrown at you.
That's right.
You know, you have to be defensive minded in life, or very proactive. Like, you got to take your life and run with it. There's going to be bumps in the road, and how you react to those bumps is what you're defined as. I've had a lot of bumps in my road. Some of them made me stumble. I've had very, very hardship situations, work, family wise. My family, you know, I've possibly lost them on a couple of occasions, and that's either by my choice or just actions in general. But it's all controlled. You can control your destiny. It's just a matter of who you're going to trust, and I need to put trust in my family, because my family's going to be there for me no matter what, and they've proven that, and they're still here. So I got to give my family all the credit in the world, and I got to thank my wife for standing by me no matter what, because she's a true wife.
You hear that? All
She's
right.
in the background. That's what he's referring to.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me on,
pleasure,
and thanks for
bro.
inviting me to your house. And it was a good time, and we'll get it again.
Oh man,
eventually.
I would be all up for it.
Awesome.
I mean, there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, we barely scratched the surface, to be real.
That's what I'm thinking.
Really did.
That's what I'm thinking.
We barely touched. We touched a lot of subjects, but didn't go very in depth on a lot of them. So, you know, it's all up to you, man. We can do what you want.
Thanks for having me on, and
thank you.
We appreciate it. Signing off.
I had a blast,
Thank
man. Again, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.